Guys, I'm vacuuming. I am standing leashed up to about 20 to 50 sulfur cubes with magma blocks inside, and these creepers can't even touch me. Look at him go. You're just gonna die now. I've essentially created myself a mob barrier. So what's going on? Welcome to snapshot 26.2 snapshot 6. So these are magma block sulfur cubes, and what it does is anything that comes into contact with it gets fire damage. Now you might be asking, Phoenix, why are you not taking fire damage? Well, I'm not, because I have Frostwalker boots. The Frostwalker enchant now has a completely new set of use, such that if you're in contact with sulfur cube magma blocks, you're not going to take any damage. It's essentially the same thing as walking on magma blocks. You don't take any damage with Frostwalker. The sulfur cubes themselves are also not immune to the fire damage, so the way I'm doing this is with fire res. Let me explain how this works. Okay, so I've got a magma block sulfur cube, and I'm going to spawn a cow over there. And if I just nudge this guy into the cow takes fire damage. So I can do this once again. He's just going to run away, and that's completely fine. You can just punch it towards him as well. Unfortunately, this is not the same thing as being set on fire, so if the cow dies to the sulfur cube, he's not going to drop any cooked beef here. So if you ever want to mess with this setup, it actually does make it kind of fun to walk around because nothing can get to you. They'll just keep getting hurt. So let me just bulldoze myself through these mobs right here. That's going to be completely fine. I'm not going to get hurt at all. Okay, but yes, I don't think this is going to completely revolutionize the PvP game, even though I want to believe that surrounding yourself with like an AoE poison effect is going to do a lot of stuff. A lot of things can still bypass it. All it takes is a bucket or a mace and you're screwed. It is essentially a portable fire damage unit. And you already know just how useful a TNT sulfur cube is because I've really kind of demonstrated that in a ton of videos already. These two blocks, if you use them together, this happens. The TNT ignites after 6 seconds. Now, I still think a TNT sulfur cube is best ignited with something else. This in itself is a self-detonating machine. If you leash this and you sort of run this way, if you make them come into contact, it will explode. So the interactions here are extremely intuitive. All you need is a little bit of motion on this block and it's going to detonate. Now, I'm not even stopping there. I leave you with a treat at the end of this video. If you're messing around with this block, you 100% need to use some sort of fire resistance. Otherwise, you're going to be hurting yourself. You may not mind this little bit of damage, but that's completely fine. If you have an existing witch farm or any sort of mob farm that has witches in it, you can, if you really want to be fancy, use a magma block sulfur cube to create a renewable source of fire resistance potions. Now, how does this work? I'm going to leash the sulfur cube to this fence. I'm just going to nudge that thing in there. And now this sulfur cube becomes a source of fire damage. You're going to have to create a drop point for the witches so you can actually kill them. Let's do this. I'm going to spawn our witches and then we just swipe and kill as many of them as we can. And hopefully some of them drop fire resistance potions. You can hear them drinking them already because they've come into contact with the sulfur cube and we just keep hitting. Hopefully we've got some potions in here. We've got 1, we've got 2. That was from maybe about 100 witches. And this works because the hitbox of the witch is coming into contact with the sulfur cube. This setup also prevents you from swiping at the sulfur cube by accident because you don't want to hit this guy off of this platform. And this is just a really stupid fancy way of making this work. And now this is the point of the video where you come and say, hey Phoenix, why don't you just use a campfire? No, but seriously, the fact that the sulfur cube is not a block, it's just a mob, it doesn't take up a single block space is very useful. Okay, there's another thing to discuss with TNT sulfur cubes, which I'll talk about in a second. It's a very positive change, but I also want to go over the sulfur caves and the fact that they've completely reverted everything. That's right, remember the snapshots where they nerfed the sulfur caves? That is not the case anymore. Mojang have completely gone back on everything that they've done. There are no more tough blocks, the caves themselves are big again. You can see from all the way over here just how vast the caves are once again. There's a lot more life to it. You've got magma blocks here now as well. You've got geysers that activate here too. So yeah, I think the big takeaway with all this is that Mojang are listening. They've actually like gone ahead and made the changes that a lot of us petitioned for. There's still a lot more they can do with this and we don't know what's going to happen with the next few snapshots, but this is a sign of encouragement. Notice the sulfur springs above the surface. They are no longer the little miniature sulfur springs that they used to be. You've got the tough blocks here. You have a granite surface, cinnabar as well. You can tell what they were emulating with all this. I think the comparison is still not quite there. This is still like a 5-meter radius at best, but it's significantly more visible from the surface and it's a lot better than what it used to be. All right, let's pivot back to the TNT sulfur cube. Mojang also added another archetype, which is stone. It's just a really slow bouncy block, so not much to talk about here. So I have a fire aspect spear, and if I nudge it, it ignites. So fire aspect now works on TNT sulfur cubes. So let's say you have a guy over here, I don't know who that is, and you wanted to do this, you can. Now, I don't think this is the big PvP the big PvP game changer that people are saying it's gonna be. I think it's really awesome you can ignite this stuff with fire aspect. I think it's the way it should be. But the fact of the matter is this ignition strat is extremely slow. Like, it's still gonna take you 6 seconds for the TNT to explode. At which point, you might as well just do something else. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is geysers. Geyser eruptions will now activate skulk sensors, as you can see. Now, obviously, this is not the activation that we were asking for. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to revisit this anytime soon. So that's kind of unfortunate. The problem is the randomness of it all, and that makes it really difficult to use. And really, speaking of redstone, I think that is the final thing that people are missing. The one thing that can really wrap this update up is redstone block sulfur cubes. Now, we do have the TNT sulfur cube and the magma block sulfur cube, which activates the TNT. So we know there is a way for this to actually work. It's just kind of the other way around right now. So hopefully, before this snapshot cycle is up for this drop, we can finally get a sense of where this block is going to be at, because I feel like sulfur cubes are just so niche that I worry that once this drop is done, I don't think they'll revisit this as much as we like. And so I leave you with this. This is a brand new mechanic available in this snapshot. I have a happy ghast here. Please don't knock into them. So close to knocking into them. I have 3 magma blocks in the distance. I have a set of TNT sulfur cubes over here. These will act as payloads. So because you can now detonate TNT with a magma block, the carpet bombing mechanic becomes super straightforward. So here is the first set. We leash that to this fence over here. We want to isolate them so they don't knock into each other. Here's the second one. How tragic would it be if one of them touched that cube over there? There's number 2. And then this will be number 3. Nice. So we have 3 payloads of TNT sulfur cubes, and this is the order in which we activate them. We attach 1 stack of TNT to 1 magma block, then 1 magma block to 1 TNT, and then we repeat the cycle until we reach the final magma block, and then that magma block gets attached to the happy ghast. Go here, we take 1 stack, we attach it to this guy, nicely done, and then we repeat the process. And there we go. The moment you want to release 1 payload, you just sever this tie over here, and naturally the magma block is going to activate all of the TNT underneath, because once they make contact, it ignites. Everything's going to be fine. Just make sure you don't descend or ascend too fast, because you don't want the magma blocks to like get in the way. I think we need elytra and a slow falling potion. I don't think there's any other way to do it. This genuinely feels like it needs to be a 2-person job. I can't do this accurately all the time. Oh, I got it. Oh, I'm so dead. I'm so dead. I need to get out of here. I'm getting out of here. Okay, so it's kind of slow, but it still works. Nice, some TNT still left hanging out there, but we didn't max it out. We can go a lot more than this. And then we have 2 payloads left, and we're off to the next structure. In any case, I think I'm just gonna detonate the rest of them over here. I think if you have a boat, it's a lot easier to just land on the boat and break the boat. Oh wait, you can't put sulfur cubes in boats anymore. But I feel like if you're gonna have multiple payloads, you might as well just have multiple ghasts. It's so much easier to just go down there and break it, or just use the flame bow, as I said. Really cool concept. Let me know what you think.